Abuja, the story of George Stinney Jr. is one of the heartbreaking stories that you can ever hear. And he remains one of the youngest people that has ever been executed in the United States in the 20th century. On June 16, 1944, George Stinney Jr. was 14 years, 6 months, 5 days, and he was 5 feet 1 inch tall and I know weighed 90 to 95 pounds. Now he was convicted and executed for the murder of Betty June Binnicker, 11 years, and Mary Emma Thames, 8 years. Now what really happened on that day? On March 23rd, 1944, the dead bodies of these two white girls were discovered in a ditch and the person that discovered that body was Reverend Francis Batson. On June 23rd, a year Betty June Binnicker and Mary Emma Thames were on their bicycle and almost maypops. Maypops in a local name omodema passion flower. And they were looking for flowers. And omukopi George Stinney Jr. Omufi. George Stinney Jr. was from a family of 6. Ne papa George Junior Stinney Sr. And efe ne mame Amy Brown. Ne younger brother Charles Stinney. I know 12 years. Efe Catherine Stinney was 10 years. And Amy Ruffner no 7. Na bra girls no kopi efie ho no. Na Amy Ruffner and George Stinney Jr. and ne wofi. Tomu bisa omo say they are in search of maypops. Him fa no mbenya bi. George and Amy chom so omo nko down ho no mbenya bi. So they left, and that was the last time that George Stinney Jr. and these girls ekasai. But later that day, enkodana nkodrufi and no nemo almost started search for these girls. And that search, George Junior Senior, George Stinney Jr. Papa was part of that search. And they were looking for the girls all over. And Reverend Francis Batson ekokopie girls no so. No mkopie girls no so no. Na girls no yabu omo ayede ade abubo omutima ma omuti kwankra no aboni kom. And it was established say na ye an instrument bi a omususi say ne tenten be te say hammer eno ene ye de bobo nkwada ne trim. So after the discovery of the bodies and the police for launch an investigation for the perpetrators of this heinous crime. Now on March 24th, a day after that particular incident, and on Babeche George Stinney Jr. and then a brother, they were arrested by H.S. Newman. Now what say a man for Ekache the same Kwadano and George Ekasaye, of which made him a suspect. So but later Omuja and a brother and a car George Stinney Jr. And as at that time, George Stinney Jr. family Oma Makwine Ama Ubiama Honum. And after the arrest, and ye George Junior's senior, a papa, ye nedi from a jumum. And now they were living in a company house. They couldn't stay there. They had to run away because now man for and even George Stinney Jr. Yadene Koto jail in Colombia and 50 kilometers away from Akula because emrophobia ne wa Akula ho ye omadwen say eka George Stinney Jr. kromo maye ni nasem ompeso omkunu one na busuani nyina. So they kept him in jail for 81 days. Now throughout the 81 days oma ama busuani bia ama ho. H.S. Newman edibetu dwa say George Stinney Jr. a confess sampa eyono ene kunkwa Nempono were leading to a particular place okoye na metal na yede bobo nkwada ni tirimu ehyewo, of which made him the right suspect that they were looking for. Abusia, on April 24th, 1944, the selection of the jury and the trial process for George Stinney Jr. started. Now, woman say when the trial started, the courtroom on that particular day, was filled with over 1,000 people. And it was 12-member panel jury. Now, on that fateful day, about 1,000 plus people are in our courtroom. The only black person that was in the room was George Stinney Jr. They never allowed any black person into that room, not even Nebuchadnezzar. So George Stinney Jr., lawyer no man, the lawyer was white, no a tax commissioner. At that time, no also cried a position into local office, and the name of that counsel was Charles Plowden. Charles Plowden, DB in Kota, Besine, Obiantumintiase. When they started the case, the trial prosecutors called 3 witnesses. So 3 normally come from normal police for. Now police for they presented 2 versions of the alleged Stinney verbal confession. Back on the say, almost say George Stinney Jr. was trying to help one of the girls and now thought ditching him, and in the process, the other one attacked him. And George as Namswa in self-defense or the 2 girls. That was one version of their alleged verbal confession from George Stinney Jr. If the other ones say George Stinney Jr. if follow girls say no compare what woman now said then you and no Namswa or the attack you okun. With these these two versions of alleged verbal confession I almost say free George Stinney Jr. The lawyer Mbisa he neither challenged whatever that they are saying or even defended George Stinney Jr. Omuka no jitum. Efe, omufra another 3 witnesses. As that 3 witnesses, one was Reverend Francis Batson, Awuhun Kwadano. And if 2 of them was the 2 doctors omu conducted postmortem on the bodies. And everything that they said Ibiano, clouding ejitum. Onoso uwe no wanye any cross examination. Efe, George Stinney Jr. so and the trial lasted for 2 hours 30 minutes. Just after the trial, and omu deliberations of less than 10 minutes. And just after that deliberations, the jury at the omu verdict by say George Stinney Jr. was guilty for that particular murder, and he was sentenced by Philip H. Stoll. Say yemfanintina electric chair mu na yunkuno. Nobody said anything because the room was full of white people, and not the only black person was George Stinney Jr. Just after this verdict, George Stinney family and some churches and other organizations that felt to say it was not right, appealed to the governor Olin D. Johnston, say almost pardon George Stinney Jr. because oyakoda. They been see that say ye kumubia wedi 14 years. But governor you omuka ye na nkwankusiaga. Enti on June 16th, 1994, na ye Friday, exactly 7:30 a.m. and he prepared George Stinney Jr. and then kokotena electric chair. George Ekono, he was holding a Bible. According to report, a kunyano kotina mu na kunyane sumano into the Bible no etu kunyano so and on this serve as a booster. Said the bear obetumi abaso. Ye the helmet no ehye no. And if ye chichire ne nsa, chichire ne nan. Ye bisa ne say our last words be ana. George ka say no sir. Nti ye the mask no ehye ne ni. According to witnesses, almost say na mask no and the helmet ni na so sene nanim. So ebra omo apply the lethal electric no, the mask fell off from George Stinney Jr.'s face and the whole and tears rolling down the cheeks of George Stinney. It was a sad moment. Until that was the end of George Stinney Jr. He was killed and buried. Now fast forward in 2004, and a historian bia yatiti no wo akula ho. Every day article in the newspaper na ekasa about George Stinney Jr.'s case, and he became interested and started say obey research about that particular issue. The research, unya support from some lawyers from South Carolina, and some of them was Steve Mackenzie, Ray Brown, Matt Borges, and Jay Moon. Na Northeastern University School of the Law as we benya interest was seminum and almost started say yenye re-examination of George Stinney's case. And no nam so ema 2014 as also started say ebie assembly subi. Until January 2014, evidence would be back courtroom honoma and no ebe sesa the dynamics of this whole George Stinney Jr.'s case. Na evidence ebini the edikan George Stinney's sisters edi to just say sa particular time na no mo chere say yekun that time not George Stinney Jr. They were with him, so there was no way George Stinney Jr. would have been the person who did say and only evidence they can. I feel they told me omunya affidavit from Reverend Francis Batson. No say okotun kwadano wo ditch ni mu yi wo mu na emoja and said they knew even around the ditch and na say ditch ni mu, which presupposes say those girls were killed somewhere and moved to that property. I know evidence number 2. I say evidence number 3 was from a man called Wilford Johnny Hunter. Now, Wilford Johnny Hunter was an inmate baby a did George Stinney Jr. Kotu Columbia no da hobby. And also ever testify say George Stinney Jr. catcher and say he was being forced to confess say ade no na ye but ono no onim ho hwe. Enti upon this evidence and a judge not here Judge Carmen Mullen on December 16th at the just say the guy was wrongfully executed and only the edikan. 2 or say Bibia said the alleged confession besine ye new written evidence bia except the statement made by H.S. Newman was coerced and inadmissible in court. They couldn't have based on that confession to convict George Stinney Jr. Now or say the execution was cruel and unusual and a fundamental constitutional violation of due process. It was so only Bibia said George Stinney Jr. or anasa wanye. The whole process they convicted George Stinney Jr. was fraud, was inappropriate, and it makes George Stinney Jr. exonerated. And no, and George Stinney Jr. Busia Ebebo say they knew say omunuan wanye. Nam say as at that time the color of your skin could just determine whether you are right or you are wrong. They convicted George Stinney Jr. just because he was black. And that is how sad the whole case is. But the aftermath of this exoneration, and dwa sɛ deɛ wɔyɛ saa deɛ nankasa wɔ hɔ. Ɔmo sɛ aberanteɛ bi a yɛfrɛ no George Washington Beck Jr. na ne papa George Beck Sr. According to report, they were one of the wealthiest family a na ɔmo wɔ South Carolina hɔ no. Na ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ aberanteɛ no ɛna bɔɔ saa abra no ɛna owieɛ no o making sure sɛ ɔbɛ implicate the Stinney family. Na deɛ nti a ɛkɔbaa saa ne sɛ Amy Brown a ɔyɛ George Stinney maame na ɔyɛ adwuma ɛde ma George Beck Sr. Na George Beck Sr. at a point wanted to have carnal knowledge with the woman. No person ɔne ne da. Nti maame no bɛbɔɔ ne kunu amaneɛ ɛna ne kuru ka kyɛn sɛ hwɛ ne wansi fie obi ma adwuma no manyɛ bio. Na saa deɛ no na ɔmo sɛ ɛde ɔtan ɛbɛto ɛyɛ the Stinney family so a ɛnam so ɛma ɔmo ba no allegedly eku ɔmo owie no kogya ɔmo gu ɛyɛ property no so. Na ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ search no nipa a ɔstart search no was George Beck Sr. Baabi ɔmo kohu sɛ na nkɔdaa ne gu no so was the property of George Beck Sr., which makes the whole case complicated. They are also saying say they had a deathbed confession a aberanteɛ no oku nkɔdaa ne wieɛ no 3 years pɛpɛpɛ at the age of 29 ɛna ɔno nso wuyɛ, which is 1947. Na ɔmo se ɔba abɛwu no ɔka no wɔ n'anum sɛ ɔno ɛde ku nkɔdaa no. But bɛsi nɛ ɔmo se there is no proof to that. Enti it is still not clear whether ɛyɛ ampa sɛ George Washington Beck ɛna oku nkɔdaa no. Abusua, it is quite sad to say George Stinney Jr. had to go through this. History will tell you say a lot of blacks were subjected to this kind of treatment. Bebree na ko wu prison ye nima the property a omo ye. Enti mo ana mo pe explanation of George Stinney Jr.'s case no. Here we are. Ne mo mafutu kakra me de be ma on say. Saa de na si 1944 no ene da so koso. There is a lot of discrimination even among ourselves as blacks. Madam Fubi ya bono e prepare just because why dreadlocks, and that is the same discrimination and also regarding color. People can now judge you based on atari a based on a tree. There's a high level of discrimination also among ourselves, and the earlier we realize regardless of senior nipa ni tree senior ni skin esitie senior we see addressing or nipa te se one, the better for all of us. Share your thoughts with me in the comment section and follow the page for more Median Citizen. Junior, God bless you.